Thank you for joining me for Veg with Lisa live. I am Lisa. This is most definitely live, and today I am so excited to cook up some of these really awesome secret vegetables. Does anybody know what these are? Let me know your guess, and so I know you can see me and that you can hear. Oh, Ellie! Yay! Ellie's in the house. Thank you. Ellie, do you know what these are? I don't think they grow in Minnesota, but I could be wrong. Who knows what these really secret veggies are? Okay, well anyway, this is what I'm gonna cook up today. These, my friends, oh, you're in Charleston, South Carolina, Ellie. Well, they might have these not on the beaches of South Carolina, but perhaps in the mountainous areas of South Carolina. These are ramps, otherwise known as wild leeks or sometimes wild onions. And they actually only grow in wooded, lower altitude mountainous ranges. Now, what does that mean, lower altitude mountainous ranges? Well, if you're from Iowa, like I am, or Nebraska, like Ellie is, any mountains are high altitude. But these really, really beautiful ramps, oh, I bet they're going to have ramps at the Charleston Farmers Market. Ellie, you're going to have to report and let us know. Hi, Rob. These ramps are only grown at altitudes of around 3,500 to 4,000 feet to 5,000. So as far as mountains go, that's not a very high altitude. But that's part of the reason why these are so special, is because they only grow in a very short window of time, early spring, and they only grow in certain conditions, and that's in wooded areas at about 3,500 to 5,000 feet. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you're lucky enough to be at a cool farmer's market like Ellie, keep your eyes open for ramps. If you live in Iowa or Nebraska and you don't have access to ramps, you can make the same recipe that I'm going to show you today with green onions and maybe a little bit of garlic or some baby leeks. Well, what am I going to make today? I'm going to show you how to make orange glazed carrots over ramp and spinach farro. Doesn't that sound absolutely amazing? Oh, I'm so excited. So let me get you down here. Enough talking. Oh my gosh, Ellie, we're in neighboring states. We should make a date. Okay, but before I get too into these, actually, you know what? That's not, I changed my mind. I want to get the ramp started, and then I want to show you something about my farro. So I've got my cast iron skillet on the heat over here. I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil. The original recipe for this came from a food blog called Serious Eats, and I'll post it in the comments. One thing I just want to point out, because I hope that you all are very ambitious and curious and frivolous, shall we say, with your cooking. When you see a recipe, you don't have to make it exactly as is. So this particular recipe called for barley. I'm going to use farro. It calls for butter. I use olive oil, right? So feel free to, oh, you know what? I wanted to show you something before I cut them up. Feel free to have a little play. So ramps, if you can buy them, they'll come like this. If you know how to forage for them, even better yet, do it sustainably, because otherwise we are gonna deforest the forest from ramps. But they come like this, and I already cleaned these, so I wouldn't have to bore you with that. But what you want to do is you just want to cut the dirty parts off. There might be some hairy roots left on there, just like you would clean a green onion or a leek, and they can be a little bit sandy in these bits. So I've already washed these, yeah. All of the ramp is edible except for those hairy roots. So you can use the whole thing. Oh yeah, see, there's one that I didn't get very clean. Can you see the dirt in there? We're not going to worry about that too much, because that's good for your gut health. So I've already washed these. I've mostly gotten them clean, and I'm just going to slice them pretty thinly. The whole bits, right up until maybe those little raggy bits I'll throw in my stock pot. Okay, so I've already cut some of these. I'm going to put these in here. What is a ramp, you may be wondering, if you are Ellie and if you're like me and you're from the Midwest where we did not have them. Well, it is known as a wild onion or a wild leek. And the flavor is definitely onion. Ooh, I got a strong one. Definitely oniony and a little bit garlicky. So again, if you don't have ramps and you want to make this recipe, you could use some green onions. You could use some baby leeks. I'm going to saute these in a skillet with a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to toss in just a teeny bit of, just a pinch of salt to help them wilt down. What is Smarty Pants Rob saying? How far up a mountain does farro grow? Oh my gosh, you would ask me that, Rob. I have absolutely no idea how farro grows. Does anybody know how farro grows? My farro grows from Trader Joe's, but thanks for setting me up. So this is farro. Again, the original recipe called for barley. You could probably use quinoa. You could use any old grain. I hope you keep some whole grains on hand in your house. This is 10-minute farro that it cooked up really quickly. It's just pre-cooked farro. That's it. So this is not a gluten-free grain. So if you need gluten-free, this would not be for you. However, in one serving of this, there is 5 grams of protein. Ask me where I get my protein. I get it in my farro. Yes. Okay, so I've got my ramps sauteing over here in my skillet. I think it's just so cool when there are these specialty food items that are only found in very certain times of the year and very certain locations. It makes them just so much more sexy, doesn't it? So exciting to go out and say, oh, there's ramps at the farmer's market. Okay, now this is farro with spinach and ramps. So I got some fresh spinach at my farmer's market. I'm going to toss that in too. Basically, I'm just going to wilt these green things down. And yep, I can smell the onions coming out. But, you know, usually these are a little bit not as strong as onions. So, Ellie, I don't know if your sister will care for them. A little bit more mild flavor, I think. A little bit sweeter flavor than the onion. I'm just going to wilt down my greens. And while they do that, I'll show you the carrots that I already cooked ahead of time. Now, it's a little bit early for carrots, even here. Don't you just love it? Isn't it so exciting that all the veg are coming out? The original recipe from Serious Eats called to glaze these with orange juice and orange zest, which I did. I juiced an orange and zested the orange and tossed it in. It also called for butter and sugar, which again, I did not use because I'm not a fancy French chef and I don't think anybody's going to miss the sugar or the butter. I used a little bit of olive oil. So again, feel free to, get out there and find some really cool exotic looking recipes and then make them your own. Make them work for your health goals. So this is still going to have the same orangey flavor. It's just not going to be glazy or syrupy. And to be honest with you, I prefer it not that way. Okay, what about this farro? I've already cooked this. I cook all of my grains like pasta in boiling water and then I drain them. Doesn't that look good? Look at that. It cooked up all nice and fluffy. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. Okay, this looks just about perfect. You could eat those ramps raw, and of course, you could eat the spinach raw, so I'm not going to worry too much about getting it totally, that was hot, totally cooked. I'm going to stir my farro in here with my cooked greens. Oh, yummy. I'm so glad it is lunchtime. I'm going to make that mistake again. So all this is cooked farro. You could use barley. You could use quinoa. I do hope that you are keeping some grains on hand to cook up yourself, or you can buy frozen cooked grains. You can buy quinoa cooked and frozen. You can buy rice cooked and frozen. Isn't that amazing? All of those greens wilted down to just that. But look at that beautiful flecked farro with greens. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now let's put this dish together. This is good. You're going to be so impressed. Ellie, even you are going to be so impressed. This is fancy schmancy. Look at this. All right, so I'm going to put my spinach and ramp farro on my platter. Oh, yum. That's going to be so beautiful. Another thing I absolutely love about this recipe is there's so many colors. Oh, gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to pour my pseudo-glazed carrots with the juice on top of this. Oh my gosh, is it gonna fit? I'm notorious for it not fitting. All right, oh, doesn't that look pretty already? Oh, I think that's just gorgeous. And, okay, here's going to be some fun stuff. Now, again, the original recipe called for almonds. I had some pine nuts that I thought would be really, really good on this. And instead of parsley, as called for, I'm using cilantro. Isn't this beautiful? A little bit of freshly ground pepper, maybe another teeny weeny pinch of salt. And then I did save back a little of the cooking liquid from the glazed carrots, and I'm going to give the whole thing just another drizzle of that. You could do a little bit more olive oil if you wanted. Oh, this is so beautiful, isn't it? And so springy. You know, even though the carrots aren't in the local markets yet, they're still very springy. And then this is perhaps the super secretest thing of all. I sliced up a few ramps ahead of time and then sauteed them until they were crisp in olive oil. So I kind of made my own little durkey onion ramps. And I'm going to put those on the very top of this. Ah, doesn't that look so absolutely gorgeous? Okay, now I decided that I'm not going to plate this bad boy. I'm going to lift it right up here. And I'm going to get a little bit of the farro with spinach and ramps first. Absolutely delicious. Yeah, definitely oniony, kind of garlicky. And then I'm going to get a bite with an orange glazed carrot. And I got a fried ramp on there. Absolutely delicious. And heavy. I'm getting my weight workout. If you can find the, oh goodness. If you can find these beauties in the woods or at your farmer's market, snap them up. I'll post the link to the original recipe in the comments. And now I have to clean up the farro spill that I just did. Thank you for joining me for Veggie Lisa Live. Time to call Robbie for lunch. Rob, come clean up this farro.